You're listening to Parental Advisory in Reverse, a new podcast from a Gen X daughter caring for both her aging parents, finding her way, and sharing unique and inspiring stories with new and old friends. Because you just can't make this stuff up. Welcome to the very first episode of Parental Advisory Podcast. I'm Allison, and I started this podcast because, like so many other Gen Xers, all of a sudden I found myself caring for my aging parents. And in my situation, it is both of them at the same time. This show is about what it looks like and feels like, the chaos, the grace, the guilt, the shame, the humor, all the moments that you just cannot make up. For our very first conversation, I am joined by my friend Hadiah, someone who exemplifies grace, who sees caregiving as a rite of passage and an opportunity to really give back to the woman who made her who she is today, her mother. Okay. So, as you know, I'm taking care of my parents, and you told me that you have been taking care of your mother. How long has that been going on?
So we found out that she had gotten diagnosed last August. So we are a little over a year in.
What kind of things are you doing for her?
Um, that's the fun part. Whatever she needs, my husband
Are
and
you
I
her
are just
personal
doing
assistant?
that. For the most part, yeah. Well, it's kind of funny too because not only are we like the personal caregiver, but she is the president of our neighborhood association. So I'm the secretary too.
There you go. Follow her around and take notes for her, her driver,
Totally.
her.
Totally. It's like all the things. But like she's not driving right now, so other than like short trips she can drive, but other than that, we take her everywhere she wants to go. Sometimes we prepare meals, run a lot of the errands that she needs run. From time to time we'll wash clothes. Just I mean anything and everything.
Is any of it fun?
Well, it's all fun because like she's my best friend, so it makes it easy, because we get to spend a lot of time together, so it's a lot of fun. So we're kind of like the Three Stooges now. So it's me, my mother, and my husband. One of my biggest things is I wanted to make sure whatever transitions or changes or whatever we were going to, it was like always keeping her in mind. The most important factors when it comes to your parents switching roles is like how do you navigate what they need and helping them maintain their sense of integrity and
Yes.
their sense of independence. You know what I'm saying? So you don't like you're still an adult, so I'm very thankful that for the most part my mom is she's still very she can do most things by herself, and we've done enough caregiving over the last 15 years that now that she's on that side, she's been the caregiver.
Oh, okay.
So she's more cognizant of, I know I can't do this. I'm not going to, so she doesn't fight as much when there's things that she doesn't feel comfortable doing. Like she honors herself. Is like, I'm not trying to do that. Like, come do this. So, so we've been on both sides of the spectrum where her mother, when she and I were taking care of my grandmother before she transitioned, it was she and I taking care of my grandmother, and my grandmother deteriorated really quickly, from when we found out that her heart was giving out to where she was in a state where she couldn't do things for herself. And then my grandmother, my nana on my dad's side, I did most of that caregiving. And again, she stayed really independent until like her last few weeks. But then my mother cared for my grandfather until he transitioned. But he had like his cancer progressed very quickly to where again he couldn't be as independent like that. It transitioned more quickly. So because we've been through this so much, back to back since like 2014, like we have a rhythm and a flow already. You
You're
know,
experienced.
so very well. Then I got sick before she did, so I already knew, what it felt like to be incapacitated and require, other
Need
people to
help.
help me. And you know how it feels to not be able to do things for yourself, right? And then literally really relying on people. So I mean, you kind of feel a little bit of a way, not having that independence. So I already know what that feels like. Um, but I like it. It's fun because it's like you get to take care of the person that took care of you and you just get to love them back. I think is the best part of it.
Tell me about the driving. So has she stopped driving a long time ago, recently? Why is she not driving?
Um, her treatments cause neuropathy, and it also makes her balance and everything unstable. So her reaction time and just kind of how she operates and functions isn't as stable as it used to be. So for her safety, she opted to, she didn't feel comfortable driving. So we do most of it.
That's really great. I wish my dad wasn't driving, but he is. When my mom told me
Mm.
he had neuropathy and he shouldn't be driving, I asked him about it, and he's like, only one finger and like one toe. So he didn't think that was a big. I was like, I don't know what neuropathy in one finger feels like, so I'm gonna go with it.
Mom, like, it's in both of her feet. So it's covering enough of her body where she knows she's unstable. So, yeah, your dad doesn't sound that far gone.
That is what he said. I don't know what it really is. I rode with him to the bank, and so he could go to the ATM, and then his problem more is he went somewhere, and when he got out of the car, he fell like walking away from the car. So his is more like the walking part. So he did switch to one of
Hmm.
those rollators instead of a
Hmm.
cane, which I'm glad. Pretty soon he probably won't be able to lift it to get it up in and out of the car. But
Yeah.
one thing at a time. But the driving, my mother lost her driving privileges because she has a brain tumor, right? And so
Oh,
you shouldn't
yeah.
be driving. I did have to threaten her and say, if you drive, I'm gonna take your key fob away from you. Because I got in her car and the seat was moved up to where she had been driving, and I was like, oh, no, no, no. That was before her treatment started. I think now that she's been
Yeah.
taking treatment, she feels too unbalanced. But I would say once a day, she makes a joke that I took away her driving privileges.
It is funny how things change as you
I was
switch
like,
roles.
yeah, I was trying to think the other day. I don't think that I recall a time when I was like 16 or 17 that I had my keys taken away. I mean, I wasn't a perfect child, but I don't remember that happening. I should probably ask her. I don't know if she will remember, but it is really kind of funny that now I'm the one. So, what's something you learned about your parent, or even, one of your grandparents and the other experiences you had? What's something you learned about them from a caregiver's perspective?
Um, I think that's the biggest thing is like nobody wants to lose their independence, you know? And I think that's probably the toughest thing with anybody in aging is just getting to that state and that stage where you really really do have to rely on somebody else. Like I just had a conversation with my mom like yesterday, and she wants to get some things done outside before it gets too cold. So I mean, we literally, I had to be like this cheerleader for her because she's like, I know you guys are doing so much for me, but I don't like asking you to do things. I'm like, Ma, I mean, like, we're really here to help. Like we're giving back because you've done, I mean, dude, you've done everything for me for over 50 years. It's the least I'm like, I'm honored to be in a space where I can do this for you. She goes, yeah, but I still don't like to ask. I don't want to have to ask because she's like, you guys are already doing so much. And I'm like, but we get to. It's not like it's a heavy lift. It's not a burden or anything like that. So it was just kind of reminding her, that we're here because I mean, she trained us well. She taught us to be givers, you know? So it's nice being able to show her that I learn from the best.
Those are how givers are, right? They don't always want to be on the receiving end of it. So you get a chance to do that.
Yep, yep.
What do you wish other people understood about the position that you're in?
So many people that are around me now are getting to a stage, like we're all getting to that stage in life where we are all starting to take care of our parents in some regard, in some capacity. Um, you know what, to be honest, to answer that question, I don't care. I've always been the type of caregiver and the type of person that like, I don't care if you get it or don't get it. It's just what I'm gonna do. Um, I went independent, like I got out of corporate America almost 30 years ago because somebody didn't get what I felt about my family and how I felt about taking care of my family. So, frankly, I don't care if they get it or not get it. If you want to understand it, I'm totally fine to have that conversation. But like, I don't care what you think. I don't care. I'm going to do what I do. Like, I'm going to be there for my family. And however that matches what your criteria is or not, that's just kind of not.
No, I like that about you.
But even when it came to being when I became a mom when I was 26, right? My family has always been my priority. So I guess the way my brain is wired, it wasn't, can I do this? It's just always been, let's go get this done, you know? So it's just been, that's just kind of how I've always been.
Yeah, I admire you. I think mine, if I had to describe it that way, mine would be like, oh, hey, let me go find someone to get a Band-Aid for you. Instead of like, here, let me put this Band-Aid on. I would
Yeah,
totally go
yeah,
find the Band-Aid and I would find the person to wash it and I would get
yeah,
you an aftercare plan, but I'm
yeah.
not going to put the Band-Aid on. So
I
I
would be
think,
the one you would come get.
yes, yes.
Here.
Totally. I'd be like, I need your help. Because I think in the very first 10 days, I started interviewing some people that were on the list that hospice gave me. They gave me this list of people who could be sitters, people who run errands, people who are retired nurses. And I
Hmm.
started interviewing them. And then I went to stay with them for a couple days. And I was like, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to spend more time here. So, like, I tried my first default mode of like, let me orchestrate some people to help you. My mo my mom was like, "Well, I know that lady. I used to work with her. Let's not do that. Oh, that person, I used to go to church with them. Let's not do that." Because it's a small town, they just know everybody.
Oh,
And
they all know each other, yeah.
I was like, until we get really incapacitated and need some health care at home, I will just do all these things.
And then too, you don't, I understand again because I've been in that position where I've needed the help. Like there's certain people you don't want to see you a certain way. And I think that's the biggest thing about being a caregiver, especially if you're going to be caring for your elders, is you have to first keep in mind that one, they're a human being, and two, they want to keep their dignity and as much of their independence as possible. I was like, oh, I get to spoil my mom. I'm going to do everything. And I'm like, wait, 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 wait. She actually wants to pick that up for herself. So that was my biggest thing that I think I learned right away was like, I can't do everything because again, if you think about it, it like, you think about atrophy, and if you don't use it, it's going to deteriorate. So you want to be able to leave them enough of their independence to be able to do as much as they can while they can do it, because there is unfortunately going to come a stage where they can't. So it's like as long as you can feel like you're the human being God intended for you to be, the longer the better, right? So that was my biggest thing is like that was the biggest thing I had to learn in taking care of her was just because I needed certain things when I was going through the process doesn't mean she's going to need the exact same things I do and wait for her to kind of give me instruction and guidance on what she needs as opposed to me assuming what would be good in her best interest. As long as she's in her right mind, I'm going to let her tell me.
I thought the same thing. There were some things I needed to let my mom do just for mobility, and she was going to physical and occupational therapy anyway, and I was like, well, she needs to be able to do that even if it's going to take her twice as long or she's going to have to think about it or take her time. And me just doing it is actually, like you said, not really being of service.
Yeah, it's actually more harmful than it is help. Learn that pretty quickly. So that made it easier.
Yeah, I kind of say, do you want help with that instead of like, here, let me do it, or
Hmm.
do you want me to do that, or like, do what else
Right.
should we do? I let her decide if we go somewhere or what order we're going to do things, or if she wants to help.
Right.
How do you protect your sanity on the hard days?
I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges for me because I've been a mother hen and a caregiver most of my life. I have to learn, and I've been learning, it's been taking me years to learn how to do self care first. Like, I literally just learned about a friend of mine who had a friend that passed away. They just knew that she was the caregiver for her husband and her mother-in-law, and they just knew that one of the two of them were going to go before the caregiver, and she actually passed away. And people don't realize the toll and tax it takes on your body, on your emotions, on your stress level, on your mentals. Like it taxes everything, and you don't really think about that. Um, but me going down like from 2020 literally to like 2023, 24, like I couldn't take care of myself because my body was like enough, right? So self-care I think is one of the biggest things that a caregiver should learn, and healthy boundaries. That was hard for me, and I'm really just kind of getting into the flow of the healthy boundaries with my mom because like if she calls, I drop everything. Kind of like right now. Give me 2 seconds. Ah, case in
I
point.
love it.
Hey, ma.
how has caring for your elders and currently your mom changed the way you think about your own aging?
I got that's part of the reason why I sold my house and bought the RV, because I'm like, every time one of our elders passed away, we gotta clean out all that crap. I'm like, who keeps all this stuff? Like, I don't want to call it like shit, but like, who keeps all this stuff? But again, as you're getting older, you're collecting things, they're of value to you, blah, 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 blah. But the generation behind you don't care, don't want it, like none of it. All this stuff, and we did like just watching that process, like we've had to do it one, two, four times since 2014. We've had to clean out homes. And I started to think about my daughter, and I said, she's an only child. And I said, this is a three-story house with a basement, and that sounds like cruel and unusual punishment to take 20, 30, 50, 60 years worth of crap and put it on your kid to clean out because you didn't think enough to get rid of all the crap you know you're not using anymore. I'm like, I'm not doing that to my kid. Like, I'm not doing that. One of the main reasons why we scaled down, because I'm just like, my daughter didn't want the house. She didn't want anything in the house, like a couple of things she wanted, but I'm just like, it made no sense. So I feel like what it did for me was it helped me to respect my aging more and value the generations that I know are going to come behind me. And I never want to be a burden to anybody. So anything that I can clear out or I can make easier and make it a lighter lift. Like my daughter could literally take this RV, drive it to a junkyard and leave it and be done. Like,
Anything that you want to add that we didn't talk about yet?
life is so short and precious. I think every day is a gift, especially when you have an opportunity to be with the person that helped you to become who you are. And I see it kind of like as a rite of passage, right? It's like being able to give back in such a way that you can honor the person that did so much for you. And not everybody has that relationship or that family dynamic with their parents. Like I'm kind of half and half because like I have this really great relationship with my mom, but I don't with my dad. So, like, I mean, when I say I can see both sides of every coin, like, I've literally been on so many sides of them. And I just think it's really important to not take life for granted. We take so much of what we're capable and able to do for granted until we're not able to do it anymore. And then you have a higher level of respect for like being able to walk, being able to sit down, being able to feed yourself. Like there's so many things that we as human beings, because our bodies naturally do it, that we take for granted. So I think it's like when you get into that stage and space where you're starting to be a caregiver, like I feel like it really makes you start to appreciate life more and appreciate the people around you. So it gives you a higher level of respect for human beings and human life. And I think that's really, really important. I want to leave a legacy and not just a financial one, but like, I've had conversations as an entrepreneur of like, what do you want on your headstone and what do you want people to say about you? And if you could be a fly on the wall at your funeral, like what would you expect people to say? And so I've always had that mindset about like, how do I want to be remembered? But then it's the same thing when you start thinking about as you're aging, like, but I remember there was a book, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was like the largest number of dreams are in the grave, because there's so many things left undone, so many things left unsaid. So, you know what I'm saying? Because people like literally take their goals, their dreams, their aspirations, their thoughts, their everything. They just take it to the grave with them instead of like sharing and having experiences with people.
Here's a quote contributed to Les Brown: "The graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is here that you will find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled."
I think it's also important too that, when you think about it from kind of an existential spiritual level, we're divine energy, right? energy can't be destroyed, it doesn't go away, which means your elders become your ancestors. And like, what experience do you want them taking with them when they transition? Because again, they're gonna like, they become pure love when they transition.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just so excited that you're doing this. I can't wait to hear more stories and just kind of hear more perspectives because I mean, they're just going to be so many. So I'm really excited for this journey.
Thank you so much, Hadiah. Can you believe that her mother actually called during the recording? That's what I mean when you just can't make this stuff up. This episode is dropping the same week as my father's 76th birthday. My parents probably don't know what a podcast is, and my dad is definitely not on social media, but happy birthday, Pops. Join us next time when I sit down with my dear friend Tracy and talk about the joy and chaos of living with your parents full time. And the big question, who really gets to make the decision when it's time for a healthcare facility? Take care, everyone. You've been listening to Parental Advisory in Reverse. Real stories about Gen X adults taking care of the people who raised us. If you are in the thick of caregiving or just curious about what it looks like, you are in good company here. Follow the show wherever you listen and pass it along to someone who could use a little community right now, because caring for them starts with caring for yourself.